Good evening, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. I'm going to open this show this evening with a Black history reflection of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of oppressor, Archbishop Desmond Archbishop Tutu was born on October 7th, 1931, in Klerksdorp, South Africa, and grew up to become one of the most consequential voices for human dignity, justice, and reconciliation the world has ever known. Raised in a nation violently fractured by apartheid, a state-sanctioned system of racial segregation and oppression, Tutu did not retreat into silence. He stepped into the fire. Ordained as an Anglican priest in 1960, Tutu rose through the church to become the first Black Archbishop of Cape Town in 1986. But his spiritual authority was never confined to pulpit or pew. He marched, he spoke, he wept publicly for those who could not weep for themselves. He carried the weight of an entire people on his shoulders and called it joy. In 1984, Tutu was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, not for achieving peace, but for refusing to accept its absence. He stood before the world and declared that the oppressor needed liberating just as much as the oppressed, because hatred diminishes the humanity of everyone it touches. After apartheid's fall, Tutu chaired South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, a body that chose memory over silence, truth over comfort, and healing over revenge. He understood that communities cannot be free until they are honest with one another. His words ring powerfully across generations. A person is a person through the other person. This concept, Ubuntu, is the African philosophical principle that I am because we are. There is no individual flourishing apart from the community that holds us. There is no legacy built alone. There is no throne built without the hands of brothers. Tonight, as four Black men gather at this table, entrepreneurs, visionaries, brothers, they embody Ubuntu. They have not come to compete. They have come to connect. They have not come to be seen. They have come to build. Desmond Tutu would recognize what is happening in this room. He would call it holy. That's a reflection question I want to have for you guys, as we just went through that reflection. If Ubuntu teaches us that we become fully human through each other, then what kind of man are you calling into existence through the way you live, lead, and love your community? Now, as I prepare to introduce our guests, I want to say this for this wonderful monologue, because we're about to have a very special show for you guys tonight. And there's a myth that floats through our culture, quiet but corrosive, that says Black men don't support each other, that we are competitors, not collaborators, that we rise alone and not at all, or not at all. Tonight, we kill that myth. Welcome to America in Black and White, Season 4, Episode 135, Black Men United. I'm your host, Charles Zachary King, and what you're about to witness is not a panel discussion. It's not a debate. It's not a performance for the world's approval. What you're about to witness is a brotherhood in action. Four extraordinary men are seated at this table tonight, each one of a different industry, each one a different story, each one shaped by different hands, different roads, different seasons of pain and purpose. But they all arrived at the same truth, that the measure of a man is not what he accumulates, it's what he activates in others. We talk a lot about Black excellence, but excellence without community is just isolation with good aesthetics. Real excellence multiplies. Real excellence mentors. Real excellence shows up at the business meeting and at the barbershop, in the boardroom, and in the brotherhood circle. These men have built companies, they buried setbacks, they've studied giants who walked before them. Malcolm X, Alonzo Herndon, Barack Obama, H.J. Russell, George Washington Carver, Dennis Kimbrough, and they asked themselves, what would that same fire look like in my hands? Tonight, they share those answers. This is not the America you were told to settle for. This is the America we are building, brick by brick, business by business, brother by brother. Stay with us. This one is for the culture as I bring our guests to the show. Hello, guys. How are you?
Great. Fantastic. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Welcome to the show. How you all feeling today?
Feeling awesome.
I'm good. Hey, energetic and
Great.
fantastic.
Well, so as we're actually getting into this, what I'd like for you guys to do is to take the time and please introduce yourselves to our audience so they can get the opportunity to know who each individual is, a little bit about what he does, and the purpose of the show tonight. Let's start with you, Evan.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on. My name is Evan Campbell. I am the owner of EV Auto. EV Auto. Basically, we're more than a buy here, pay here type situation. We're more than a rental car business. One of my biggest focuses is helping people within the community during the car buying process. I understand that car buying can be intimidating. Unfortunately, a lot of people are subject to predatory financing, high interest rates, confusing contracts, and unnecessary fees. And the fine print may not be something that they fully understand. I like to come in and try to help people how to negotiate, what questions to ask, and just overall not get taken advantage of. Also, I consult on car rentals, and I'm speaking from experience. From anywhere from I started with 2 cars and I've had as many as 16 cars. Consulting with people in that regard. I also have a dealer's license, so I can help. I can shop for someone who's looking for something in particular. But that's what it is. Like I said, it's not just a straight up just buy here, pay here situation. It's something I try to do. I mean, of course, you have to make money. That's the most important thing. But also, I try to help people, just try to help them understand. Because I feel a lot of people get caught in the trap of trying to look nice and trying to have a nice car. And a lot of people just get caught in a deep hole, so to speak. And I try to help people understand that you don't have to go broke to still get what you want and be in the ballpark. So that's basically what I'm about. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. Mr. Holton, if you could go next. Mr. Holton, we can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Let me just go over to Mr. King. Can you tell us about yourself, sir?
I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I can hear you. Yes.
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. This is an awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't. Okay. All right. This is an awesome experience for these guys at Titan Circle. I'm Leo King. I am an educator, founder of and an author. And through education, I like to bring out through the real estate process to build wealth with purchasing property. And with being an author, I do my best to put out work that will enhance any individual that decides that they want to purchase a book and level up their intellect. That's who I am.
Mr. Magby.
Yes. All right. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Tony Magby. I'm from College Park, Georgia. And I am the co-owner with my wife of Rent the Occasion Event Rentals in Lawrenceville, Georgia. So we provide rentals, party rentals for weddings, corporate events, church events, things like tables, chairs, tents, linen, staging, everything someone would need when they're gathering anywhere from 200 to 300 people to help them enhance their image while they're trying to entertain. We've been in business for 10 years. We employ in our peak season up to 15 employees. And we just enjoy delivering a great service to our customers around the metro Atlanta area.
Mr. Holton. We can't hear you. No, sir, we can't hear you. Okay. Okay. Mr. Holton, while you, if you can make that work once you get your, no. No, sir. Let me see if we can. I don't know what to say about that. Let me just try to go ahead and no. No. That's not. Let me go ahead and get into the show, and I'll try to while we try to resolve that issue. This question is for all of you guys, and what I like to do here is we'll start with the origins of your stories and identity. So this question here is for all four of you guys on the panel. I want each of you to take us back to the moment, not when you started your business, but when you first believed you were capable of starting a business, what happened in that room or in that silence? Let's start with you, Leo.
Ask me the question one more time, Charles.
Take us back to the moment, not when you started your business, but when you first believed you were capable of starting a business. What happened in that room or in that silence?
I'm going to take it back to when I was 20, I'm going to say 20, and I wanted to get into the barbering business. And I was super excited because I knew that I could build a clientele and build a business. And I just had to get trained. And so what went on in that room was a desire, a fire and desire in me to do what it took to make that dream come true.
So what's going on, Mr. Magby? Can you tell us about your situation?
Okay, well, it's actually a long time coming for me. It was a progression. So growing up, I grew up in a middle class home. My parents could provide, but at some points they didn't quite get me everything that I wanted when I was growing up. So I started off early cutting grass in the neighborhood, pushing the lawnmower around the block. I don't know if you're familiar, but in some neighborhoods, everyone doesn't cut their grass, right? So they'd be happy to have a young man come knocking on the door and offer to cut their grass for $20. So I started my entrepreneurial journey, I would say, during that time. So then, as I grew up, my parents introduced me to network marketing. So I got familiar with doing presentations, being in front of a room on a whiteboard, trying to sell to people. But that did not quite turn into a career path for me. But I do credit my parents for introducing me to having the courage to speak in front of a room. So as I went to college, of course, I got involved in corporate America after I graduated. And I'd say when I finally realized that I could run a business at scale is as I was taking a project management, or they call it a PMP certification class. And I started getting the nuts and bolts about how to get projects done, about scheduling, about human resource management, managing risk, and all of those types of things. So once I got that foundation, I started realizing that I could probably run business on my own at scale if I got the opportunity. And so when I got laid off, there was the opportunity.
Mr. Campbell, can you tell us how did that work with you?
I would say what Tony said. Grew up in a middle class home, and I got my first start actually neighborhood in my friend's neighborhood in Peyton Forest, because a whole lot of basically like when my parents wouldn't really buy for me. So I would say, hey, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get the money myself. And this is before I was old enough to have a job. And similar, but and seeing her do it kind of inspired me. Not so much like she worked all the time. Always had a laptop in her lap at night. She had an office in our. And I remember a lot of late nights seeing it was in the light. She was up to something. So basically seeing that and the work that she put in, but also had it very much kind of inspired me. It was something that I want to do. Up, I from Northwest Atlanta, Howell Mill area, and I was definitely one of those kids that thought he was tough and got into trouble. And so I feel like my experience growing up was very outside of the box, putting myself in positions that basically would enable me or force me rather to think counter to where I was raised and how I was brought up. And so putting myself in those positions ended up having to I got kicked out of school and ended up in and out of boot camps and stuff like that. And so basically, long story short, with that said, early on, I kind of realized seeing it in conjunction with seeing my mom and doing what she did and understanding the type of lifestyle that I wanted for myself, I would have to be an entrepreneur because the traditional path was not going to be open to me. So honestly, to me, it was a zero-sum game. It was that or nothing. And seeing my mom do it, it gave me the confidence. So I was very much blessed in that regard. But yeah, that's about it.
So, Mr. Holton, is your mic working? We still can't hear you. I want to thank all of our participants that are here. Is that you, Mr. Holton? I want to thank all of our audience that's out that's listening to the show tonight. Thank you all for attending, especially those that are always here. We're here doing a special episode tonight, and it's called Black Men United. Evan, your mother is a core influence. What is the one thing she did or said that you still carry with you into every business decision?
Basically, my mom, at the zenith of her entrepreneurial arc, so to speak, she co-founded a nonprofit called WIDA, the Women's Development Agency, and basically the premise of it was teaching people how to start businesses, teaching women and minorities rather how to start businesses, and like on the first, and they would give classes to people, and it was basically like a 12-week course. And the first day of the course, she basically had an example of like someone grows up and like their grandma bakes cookies, the greatest cookies that they've ever had, the greatest recipe. But the thing is, they might like those cookies and their people might like those cookies, but everybody else might not like. So basically kind of to drive home that you may think you have an idea and it sounds real good in your head, but at the same time, it may not be feasible and it may just be an idea. So that kind of ingrained me into kind of approaching entrepreneurialism as a whole as more of looking at opportunities in ways I can fill voids. So yeah, I would say that anecdotal story was what stuck with me in my entire approach to business.
So as you think about that, and with your mother being an entrepreneur, what is that one thing that she done, or the one thing that she says that you still carry with you out now to this day?
Treat it like it's your baby. Treat it like it's your baby. You gotta, coddle it. You gotta be there for it. A lot of uneven hours, but that's what you have to do in order to get it off the ground, and then also to maintain it and for it to be successful. So yeah, that always stuck with me.
Wendell, your parents gave you your foundation. Was there a specific moment when you realized their lessons were not just wisdom, they were strategy?
No. Microphone.
Oh, man. Okay, we still can't hear you, sir. Leonard, you've described your path as moving from barber educator to real estate advisor to author. What was the thread running through all of that never changed?
King, could you ask me that question again? I couldn't hear you based on the audio.
Okay, you've described your path as moving from barber educator to real estate advisor to author. What was the thread running through all of it that never changed?
I couldn't hear the question, King.
Can you hear me?
I can. You can start up when you start off with the question and you fade out.
You've described your path as moving from barber educator to real estate advisor to author. What was the thread running through all of it that never changed?
Well, it's that one word, education. And I believe that education is the path to mastery.
And so when you say education, I mean, are there forms of education, or are there things about education that you are specifically mentioning that never change?
Well, when I talk about it's like when you're going through any process, there's a process of learning that you have to do. And in that learning, usually you have either an educator or mentor or coach that helps you go through that process and learn. So as I matriculated through each domain, from barber educator to real estate advisor to author, all of it revolves around education, coaching, and leveling up to the next level.
Okay. And let's I have a comment here in the chat, and let me put it on the screen for you guys, and all of you can respond to this. As you see it on the screen there, it says, "Evening, gentlemen. It's great to see brothers come together and share their successes and experiences to help them in a positive position in life." When you guys hear that and you read that on the screen, can you tell me, what does that say to you, and how does that make you feel as the leaders that you guys have become?
Could you show it one more time?
That feels great. Well, it feels great to see a comment like that, Charles. Just someone that's recognizing what we're trying to do as a group, getting together, reading books, having discussions, building each other up. It feels good to be recognized by your audience, for what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish together. And I'm honored that I think that's Lee Chandler in the chat.
Yes.
Comment. So thank you for making that comment and for listening to our story tonight.
Anyone else want to respond?
I really didn't.
I don't see the question. I don't see the statement or the question again, Charles.
No, it's the comment.
Oh, comment. I don't see the comment. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now.
Well, not to cut Leo off, but I really didn't, until our initial meeting, our pre-production meeting, basically, I really didn't, I never put it in that perspective until you mentioned it. Like, this is something that people would look at and, take value in us doing that. I didn't really think about it like that. My reason for joining the group was selfish reasons, honestly. I needed to expand my social circle, and needed something to do. basically. So I really didn't look at it from the perspective of, oh, this is something that we're actually doing here until very recently. So I just want to add that, but I didn't mean to cut Leo off. You can go ahead, bro.
Oh, no, you good, Evan. Hey, I appreciate it. I think the comment is spectacular. I mean, you know, this does happen. It's not often, or maybe not talked about as much, but it does happen. And successful brothers coming together, reading and having high-level conversations about. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're.
And there's another comment here about education. I'll put it on the screen. Maybe Leo would like to talk to this one. It says, education applied is the path to freedom.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Application.
Very much so.
Yeah. First is knowing, and then a second is actually taking action and applying what you know to build your future and whatever that freedom looks like to you.
Tony, you spent years mastering precision in corporate environments. At what point did you realize that precision needed to serve your vision, not someone else's?
Well, that's an interesting question, Charles. Well, at some point, it becomes a value proposition with yourself, right? So I looked at the hours that I was putting in, and I looked at my motivation for why I was doing what I was doing. Okay, so while I was in the corporate world, once you get assigned a team and you get responsible for things to get done, then you wind up taking on a lot of responsibility for not only project, but you take on responsibility for those above you and for those below you, along with still having to take on the responsibility of your family. And you start wondering, for all the value that I'm providing here, what is my actual value? And so once I started looking at it, I wanted to put myself out on the open market to see what I was actually worth. And so that kind of helped make that decision. I wanted to put those efforts into building something, a legacy for my family, and to try to build a business that I could be proud of and not necessarily put my name on, but something that I could own.
Leonard, Tony just described his journey out of corporate into entrepreneurship. How similar or different is that from your transition out of barber education into real estate, and where do the roads cross?
That's a great question, Charles. Actually, I'm still an educator at the moment and taking on a real estate license and helping people through the journey of real estate. The transition was fairly challenging because what I had to do was I had to figure out who I wanted to be as a real estate agent, and then also what identity did I want Powerhouse Consulting to have. And on that journey, I discovered that I wanted Powerhouse Consulting to have an educational journey, right? And so taking what I've learned being a bar educator over into real estate is that when people experience Powerhouse Consulting, Leo as their agent, I want them to understand the process and be about wealth building through real estate as possible.
So I have a question for all three of you guys. If your younger self could see what you are building right now, what would shock him the most?
I'll take that.
Okay.
It's for everyone.
What would shock my younger self is, Leo, honestly, you're educating people and taking people through a wealth building process. Man, you on the road to success, my brother. You doing what was always deep in you, and now you're having a chance to bring it out and see the results from that hard work, dedication, and staying focused and believing in building.
You other guys, can you comment to that question? What would your younger self see what you were building right now? What would shock him the most?
I think the type of business that I am actually running right now, I think that would shock my younger self the most. What I do could be considered it's a luxury for most, but at its heart, it's a logistics business. So it's a moving business. It's not a clean business. It's a dirty business. And so I think my younger self would have thought more. I would have been more of a corporate person, more of a student type person every day. But now, even though I'm a business owner, I do put on my boots still, and I'm in a warehouse. We own a warehouse, so my staff is a warehouse, blue collar type deal. So I think that would surprise my younger self the most.
I'll chime in on that. I would say what would surprise my younger self the most was I don't know, not really a whole lot. Like I said, this was kind of a zero-sum game to me. It was this or nothing. I always knew this is what I wanted to do and what I was going to do. I would say, well, to be critical of myself, I would say that I would have thought that I was more confident at this point into new lanes with the experience that I've had. So if anything, I would say that.
Mr. Holton, can you hear us and can you chat? Oh man.
I really want to hear from Wendell. Wendell is a sharp brother.
Yes,
a lot to add to this conversation. So
I don't know what's happening with the tech, but so this question is for all of you guys as well. And we're gonna start with Evan with this question. How do you define success in a way that is distinctly yours, not borrowed from culture, not inherited from someone else's expectations?
Happiness, because at the end of the day, it's all about happiness and legacy. That's one of our pillars in our book club is legacy, and I really take that to heart. Legacy is very important to me. I believe that we as Black men, it's on us to leave something for the next generation to build on, and I really believe this in my heart. I feel that millennials and also the Generation X before me, like my Titans brothers, I really think that it's on us to kind of fill some of the gaps, so to speak, and leave a legacy to where it's better for the next generation. Basically, what I mean is, like, we're not going to. I believe I said this in the pre-production meeting, like that old Japanese story about the man planting a tree, and he knows he's not really going to enjoy the fruit from it, but he just is happy in that he did something for the cause, basically. So that to me is important. Legacy. Money's important too, but I feel like they can go hand in hand a lot of times. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Tony,
Could you repeat the question again, Charles? Sorry.
how do you define success in a way that is distinctly yours, not borrowed from culture, not inherited from someone else's expectations?
All right. Awesome. I'm glad you repeated the question. All right. So success for me is freedom. It's also a degree of control, control of my time, and control of my decisions. We are reading a book though that adds a lot of color to what we're talking about right now. We're reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And so while I'm talking about control, I do understand that in order to have control, that it takes a lot of interpersonal skills in order to be in charge and to have that control. But I feel like I'm a fair person, and so being able to control situations and being able to control the tone of the room, so I don't get put into situations that I feel are unfair, and that I'm able to create an environment where people enjoy being there. It's success to me.
Leo,
Yes. How I define success is similar to Tony. Success, freedom, and it's also clients or individuals enjoy the value that my business brings. That's what it means to me. And if I had to sum it up in one word, it's really, well, 2 words: joy and freedom.
Wendell, can you? Is your mic working now?
Y'all hear me now?
Hey,
Yes.
he's here.
There you go.
Wow. That's super
Brother, we
embarrassing because I'm supposed to be the tech guy.
You are.
So
It happens, man.
Miss you, bro.
let's go back and let's bring you forward up into the
you.
conversation.
I
So if you
appreciate
could
it.
please go ahead and tell us about you, who you are, what it is that you do, and we can spring forward with some of the questions that were specifically for you after you get through.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. King. I appreciate it. Thank you for having us and myself on the show. And again, forgive me for the mic issues that I have, but excuse me. My name is Wendell Holton, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Was raised in College Park, Georgia. I currently live in Dallas, the DFW area, Dallas, Texas. Been out here about 14 years. My background educationally is in IT, electronic engineering, as well as information security / cybersecurity. My business is, the short version is a drone business, but I like to think of it more as data intelligence. And I'm also using different AI tools, not just to capture the intelligence with the drone itself, but to automate some of the processes that once we receive the information from the drone, as far as the deliverable to the customer, automate the processes to where we can get the information to the customer in a very professional and formatted way. So aerial data and video is the primary focus of the business, and I'm actively right now working on the AI component as well.
Okay. So the question that I have for you specifically was your parents gave you your foundation. Was there a
Mm-hmm.
specific moment when you realized their lessons were not just wisdom, they were strategy?
Specific moment. I think that the specific moment would probably have to be, well, I'll be honest, when I started the drone business, the strategy that I got from my parents, well, I should say wisdom really, is that you need to, if you have something you really want to do and you like what you're doing, then it's not going to become work to you. And that's one of the things that drew me to the drone space. Uh, if I can go back for a little bit, when we were in high school, when airbrush clothing was all the rage and everything, and everybody wanted to wear, the graffiti and the things on their clothes, I was the guy that did that. So I would paint something, wear it to school, and that would be my advertising. And then people say, "Hey, Wendell, can you do this, that, and the third for me?" And I would take it home, airbrush it, bring it back, and make a little money. Even back then in high school, I didn't even realize that I was setting up a business plan, a marketing plan, an advertising plan. I was just doing something that I like to do, but I was able to actually make a little, lunch money off of it. So the lesson that, or the strategy that I learned from my parents is sometimes you have to get out of your own way and just thinking too much about it and just jump into it and do it. And if it's something that you really like doing, more than likely you're going to follow through with it. And going back to the airbrush analogy, I really like doing that. And it's something that I follow through. And the next thing you know, I had a business. So I think I'm kind of at that juncture again right now.
So the last question that I asked the group was, how do you define success in a way that is distinctly yours, not borrowed from culture, not inherited from someone else's expectations?
Success for me it is not a destination per se. It's about the journey and embracing the steps along the way as far as the journey. So my definition of success right now, in this particular point in time, is I charge myself to be better tomorrow than I was today. Today, I'm better than I was yesterday. So it's incremental. As long as I'm following those incremental steps and doing something more than I did the day before, then that's being successful. Success, if you look at a house or a building when it's built, it's not just boom, it's there. It's, you have to lay the foundation, you have to lay the bricks, you have to eventually put on the roof, put in windows, there's stages. But all of it, when you see the building, you think of it as a success, but there were different milestones that went into that. And for me, every day is a milestone. So success for me is just being better than you were the day before.
Now I have a really this question here kind of like steers us in a more serious direction here, but it's for all of you guys. Um, Gentlemen, what does the word black man mean to you in 2026? Not as a political statement, but as a personal declaration.
Mm,
Let's
that's a
start with
great
you,
question.
Leo.
To me, it means strength. Strength in numbers, intelligence, strategy, and definitely fortitude.
Evan, what you got for us?
In 2026, I would say pride and dignity, um, because I know a lot of us collectively may or may not really know about too much of our history, but we have a long and proud history in this country, and also duty to teach our kids and to uplift them, to make tomorrow better than today. and that is our kids. That goes for the whole community as a whole. So yeah, dignity, pride, and duty.
Okay, Tony.
Black man. All right. First, when you say black, I had to think about, let's say, all black men. So I work around Africans. I work around Latinos. I work around Black Americans. And so I have to, when I say black, I have to think about it as that's how you're looked at, how people see you, right? So let's deal with that first. So black is minority, all right? And as a black man, I'm gonna deal with man now. Man is strength. That's leader of a household. That's strength. Like I think a man should be able to do things. I guess there are roles that are considered when I think about a man. A man should be able to provide. A man should be able to protect, right? So if we look at that, I'm going to look at a black person that has to be identified as black, that is a protector and a provider. That's what I think of when I hear black man. I try to keep it at that.
Okay. Wendell.
So I agree with all my brothers on the call as far as their rendition. I just want to kind of piggyback on that. And I think about my first example and my prime example, really, and that's my father. And what my father meant and still means to me. And especially at this point in life, I can really appreciate who he was and his attributes and the things that he passed down to me. But kind of like Tony, I want to break it down into sections. Black, as we understand it, it's our race and it's also our culture. And that culture is, for lack of a better way to put it, it's a mixed bag. There's a lot that goes with that. But that's a positive thing. There's a lot of history. Man, a lot falls up under that three-letter word man umbrella. Responsibility, you have strength, you have, believe it or not, loyalty, you have perseverance, you have fortitude, you have education, intelligence. I think about the lessons that he passed on to me as well as other, mentors that I've had in life. So I think, well, I'm not going to say I think, I know the black man is all of that. And he's an amalgam of the past, his current, present, and he is responsible for guiding the future as well.
As we think about that, and I know when we say black man in 2026, from the historical context, yeah, we've always had the generational pride and always had to be strong. But in that whole process, there are other variables that have come into play, and there are other things as we've evolved in time, that adds much more to what it is to be a black man here today in 2026. When you guys think about that, can you tell me, do you think of, like, let's say, like what we have tonight, when we think of the unity and we think of, coming together and building together as one, has that ever seeped into the minds of, like as to how you guys see this? I see black men today going forward. Do you see unity? How do you actually see that?
Speaking for
Go ahead,
myself,
Ed.
obviously, Excuse me, bro. Speaking for myself, I would draw to Leonard's rollout a couple weeks ago. It was, I guess, a get together, a gas speak, and just in the he got up and spoke, talked about the book, but in the midst of everything, I just took a look around the room, and I saw. I mean, obviously, I don't know what it is. Different bounds among us, and I think it just speaks to how diverse we are. Like, we are not a monolith. We're very diverse. We have a lot of different interests, goals, and everything. But it's not often you see that represented under one roof. And yeah, so I would like to hear in 2026. That's what it's got to be. We all just got to come together, and we don't necessarily have to be paid, but we need to have a collective board with that. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, Leonard.
Ask me one more time. King. Or state it one time.
I was just saying, for the whole entire process of what we see now, as you guys have spoken to what it means to be a Black man here in 2026, I was asking, is there any point in time do you think about unity as being one of the variables that plays a major part in what Black men are about today?
I believe unity plays a major part from the beginning. I believe, though, that we definitely, as Black men, come together when there is some level of action taking. I believe come together when there is a level of action that's taking place. That is the consistently seen to me, and I believe that it's going to get from 20 forward, because first circle, these three guys that I'm on the call with are leading the charge for that. And people get to see and hear in this moment what unity and community looks like for Black men, not only in action, as far as being out doing something outside, but actually being on a call, meeting on a call every Monday to discuss a book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, to help us personally develop, grow in all areas: mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, and financial, and bring that unity as a whole. So I believe the Titan Circle set the standard, and we're moving forward. So bigger and better things to come.
All right, Tony, what do you think?
Okay, when I think about Black men and unity, or I just think about Black people and unity, I see a lot of it in my circles. Now, what I do have to say is the circles that I do run with, the people that I associate with, unity is a big part of what we do, and it's amazing to see, right? I got a couple of different friend groups of people that I associate with, of all types, right? But in the circles that I'm in, and I hope I don't misspeak here, but in a certain demographic, the unity is really appreciated, and it's easy to do. It's easy to move things forward. It's easy to come up with social things to do, sometimes with volunteer type things to do, to help in the community. And I feel that it is a common thread among Black people. However, there is sometimes where we do experience some frustrations with some of the other, with some people that are associated with being Black.
Wendell, what's your take on that?
My take on that, as far as unity goes, I think unity is a secondary component, I should say. The first component has to be the spirit of unity. The spirit of unity drives the unity itself. And the reason I phrase it like that is just looking back over our history in America as far as the things that drove or inspired, however you want to phrase it, unity. There were different things that were catalysts for the spirit of unity. Now in 2026, we know it's present. This is a great example here of what we're doing, and there's numerous examples all over the country, if not the world. But I think first we have to have the spirit of unity. That spirit will be you have to be receptive to bonding. You have to be receptive to moving as a collective. You have to be receptive to being in agreement, and in some cases being in disagreement, but that doesn't mean you're still not united. You know, things can be worked out. So if we as a whole can find the spirit of unity like we have in the past, and I think the unity itself is a secondary component that's just going to follow on its own.
So,
Charles, I'm sorry. I would like to get your take on that question.
well, because you see, well, with me, I think unity is always there, and I always think in that perspective of unifying, because together we're much more stronger than we would be separate. And so I think that I think from my perspective, I just have to honestly say, I believe that we have to think more on the unification side of whatever it is that we do. We can be separate in the many things that we build, but together, bringing those things together from a collaborative perspective means everything. And that's nothing short of, well, we know we got the example from yesteryear, but the world has evolved since that time. So with the evolution of time, we have to take today's time to use that concept, but make it that much better. That's how I see it. And so with those answers that we've got from that, now I have to throw this question in because, those were a lot of great points that you guys made. And so I want to do another round table discussion here, opinions based on what I'm about to ask you now. I want a real-time agreement or respectful disagreement. Do you believe Black men are more unified today than they were 10 years ago? Yes or no? Then explain. And let's go to the round table. We're going to start with Wendell.
That's kind of difficult to just yes or no. I think it can be relative. If we had to look at it from a micro perspective, you could say yes. If you look at it from a macro, again, it's relative, you could say no. So I think that's a relative question, but me personally, I do think that it's still here. And again, we just have to tap into the spirit of unity and like the some of our tenets as far as the Titan Circle goes, growth and legacy and mindset. If you have those type of tenets in your quest to be unified, then it's going to happen. It's kind of related to like being on a football team or just a team sport. Period. You can have all these different members on the team. They have different jobs, but the job of the collective is to move the whole team forward. So my job on this particular play might not be to score. It might be to block for Tony who needs to score, whatever the case might be. So it's okay to be different, but going back to that spirit of unity, if you all on the same playbook and running the same play, that's where you need to be.
Tony.
Hey, I'm going to have to answer the question from more of a personal perspective, because I can't really reflect on any major movement nationally or internationally that would say that Black men are more or less unified, right? For me,
Okay.
I feel like over the last 10 years, as I'm maturing, that I feel that that I am unifying more within groups. But I have different groups that I unify with. So the Titan Circle is a group that I've gotten involved with within the last couple of years and been reading books with. And so I feel a sense of unification in that. And by being involved in the Titan Circle and being more broadly going to things like Invest Fest, going to some men's breakfasts that some churches have been hosting, and from some other friend groups that I'm involved with, I see that there is a big push for Black men, Black families to unify and to be, more collaborative with each other. But I'm also in some peer groups, professional groups as well. And within those rooms, there's also a sense of unification once you have something in common with people.
Evan, what is your take?
Pretty much piggybacking on what Tony said. I feel like I think is reflected in my personal journey and things like the Titan Circle. Also, just being an objective observer of different friend groups and just people outside, so to speak. And I realize that it may not seem like that right now. There's a lot of outside forces, I think, meddling in our community to try to make stuff seem like it's a certain way and maybe get people downtrodden, blacked out, but truly believe that stuff is getting better. And I think that not just Black men, but Black women as well. I think that we are more unified than ever, especially right now. It's 2026 with all the stuff that's going on. I really, truly believe that in the last 12, 18 months, a lot of us have woken up and can see the forest for the trees. And, we can see what's going on. And I don't really think you can really quantify that right now, but I really feel that in November, I feel that that will be shown. And in 28, I think we'll see it too. I think we're at a watershed moment. I really do. I think we'll look back in 20, 30 years, people will be making history books about this time period. It's kind of like old Chinese proverb, like, may you live in interesting times. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, it's kind of a curse, really, because if you live in interesting times, what's going on? It's up here, fan. And I don't think we're at that point yet, but I think that a lot of people are waking up and saying that we're at the precipice. And like I said, I don't think it's aware now, but I think it'll be evident to everyone very, very soon. That I'm ranting, so I'm gonna go ahead and cede the floor to somebody else. Go ahead, John.
Leonard.
You know, Charles, that's a tough question without really any data. I'm gonna say that black men, and reason why is there's a low standard for responsibility and accountability. And that's from a human perspective. I believe black men will be unified when it comes to money or sports, but you really don't know who they are, right? Until you have to be responsible and accountable, right? And I believe that is what is keeping men from being unified, right? I believe that when you start taking responsibility and accountability to better yourself, or then more black men will become unified when they do that. And that's the whole purpose, again, of the Titan Circle. It was to bring men who were grounded in honesty, responsibility, and accountability. Right? And that's I just in 2026, they're unified, but not around that.
So, you know, first of all, let me just there's a couple of comments here I want to put on the screen for you guys. This one right here is for Leo. This is from it looks like it's your kid. It says support my pops, Leo.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, but
That's cool.
then we got this one here that do you have a guy out here in the audience, and he says good points. Now, you know, that can go in many directions, and I don't want us to get tied up on this because those are some really good points for real. But I will say this, just in getting ready to move on, is that, you know, and with this group, with this show tonight, starting and setting a whole new standard. This is what the unity should be looking like, and this is what we should be thinking about all the time. And the reason why I say that, and again, this is just my opinion, so I don't want nobody to say I'm trying to tell people how to think. But I think when you see we're able to unify, to continue to be individual as well as collective, and we continue to build and we make our moves and we do things that we're supposed to be doing, there's value in that. Mm-hmm. And I think as we've got these young men and we got older professionals that are listening to this show right now, this is setting a standard as to what we should be doing and how we should be doing things. Because communicating and making things happen, planning, developing, makes us that much stronger and that much better.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I want to move to entrepreneurship and business building. And I want to start with Evan. Evan, I want you to tell us about the automotive industry, you know, and we know that it's a tough arena. What was the first business obstacle that E&V Auto that made you question yourself? And what did you do when that doubt showed up?
I had a stretch a couple of years ago where around the time my son was born, where, you know, I was busy getting ready for, I have two children, but around the time my second child was born. In the midst of getting ready for him and just the stress and anxiety of that, I had two deals fall through back to back. On the rental side, I had two cars that came up missing. One I had to pick up in Philadelphia. The other I picked up in, and it was just, I think it was with everything happening at the same time. It very much had a come to Jesus moment. Like, is this like the universe giving me a sign? And like I said, in the midst of my son being born, I'm like, yo, should I just go get a job or something? But I quickly snapped out of that. Like I said, I kind of earlier from my mother, and also just simple life experiences. That's the test. That's the test of business acumen, is how you face adversity, how you respond in those moments. And so I took from that, I turned it into a challenge, and was like, this is gonna make me. This is a rough patch, but this is gonna make me. And if this can't break me, then I feel like, I'm ready for anything.
Okay. So Wendell, drone technology is a fast-moving competitive space. How do you stay 10 steps ahead without losing the soul of why you started?
Hmm. Well, that's a great question. First of all, you have to keep up with. There's a lot of variables in the drone space. For one, you may or may not be familiar with the tariffs and the potential FCC ban for certain type drones, which a lot of us that are in this space, we use that particular manufacturer. So there's that. And there are certain stigmas that come with that. Also, there's rules and regulations that we should be following. You have to take specific FAA certified tests, and you have to follow the guidelines outlined by the FAA. So staying 10 steps ahead right now, being that it's the lane is still developing, if you would, in my opinion. The lane is still developing. So trying to find a niche would be one way. But as I mentioned before, I think the future, really staying 10 steps ahead, really looking at the chessboard, so to speak, is going to be some type of implementation of AI, whether it's after the data is collected or during. It's going to happen because the way that technology is moving now, it's extremely fast. And I don't think that any of us at this point can afford to be, you can't afford to not be in the loop. And that's just not with the drone space, that's with anything now. I mean, the AI technology is touching everything, but specifically with the drones, staying current on what the FAA and FCC are putting out in terms of mandates and laws and things of that nature, and also just staying on top of technology and not being afraid, really not being afraid to just jump in somewhere with the technology. For example, what I'm doing in addition to just operating the drone, I'm also coming up with my own reporting system, building it from scratch using AI. I'm also coming up with prospect generating using AI. So I don't have to go out and necessarily seek leads, let the AI technology do that for me, and I can focus on other things. So there's ways to automate processes and to have a digital workforce, so to speak, while you focus on how to make the actual flying of the drone, find a niche for that, so to speak.
Well, I've got a question here that's just been put in the chat. This is to you, Wendell. And the question there is on the screen. He says he's in technology too, and he's curious, what AI tools are you using?
That's a great question. So the biggest one right now, as far as what's considered large language models, I'm using ChatGPT along with Claude, but specifically for the creation of the automations that I was mentioning, the prospective client capture and the CRM that I'm working on in the reporting system. It's a it's a platform called N8N. That's November, the number 8 November. So N8N. And a lot of these AI tools, they really reduce the barrier to entry. And what I mean by that is there was a time not too long ago where if you wanted to design something, you had to know how to code. You really had to know the syntax and things like that. But what I'm using now is considered low coding. And even if you don't know the code, you just ask Chat or Claude, hey, what do I need to put in here? It'll tell you and it'll customize it for what you need to do. So it really brings down like I said, the barrier of entry and the learning curve in terms of what you're trying to do. It's something I've never embarked on before, but I'm pretty confident because you asked about success earlier, I'm, I make steps. I have daily checklists or daily milestones that I have for the projects that I use that I'm working on in N8N. So, uh, that's just that's a few of the tools right now that I'm using. There's also a Google AI tool that I use. I'm creating dashboards for once I finish my reporting system. So there's a lot of tools out there. And also, if I could just add something else, something that I think about a lot, because there are so many tools and there's so many that's coming out so fast, my recommendation, you do a little bit of research, but don't get caught up too much into trying to learn everything because that's not the point. You need to find something, kind of stick with that, and eventually it'll connect to other things. But I think it's easy to get lost in the forest because there are so many trees, but that can be a good thing depending on how you approach it. But I would suggest that, like I said, do a little bit of research, then find something and run with it and see where it takes you. But also, while you're doing that, have in mind what you want to do with that technology and ask these large language models how you can go about that. I mean, you could get, business plans, business advice, things like that from these large language models and just take that and put it into another tool and another tool. Next thing you know, you have a product that's exclusively yours. And when was there ever a time that you could do that before?
So, Leonard, real estate is about relationships as much as transactions. How do you build trust at the level required for someone to hand you the keys to their most important asset?
Well, first thing I do is I lead with education. And what that education looks like is educating the owner of the property on the details of what the steps are going to look like from beginning. And after I do that, I make sure that I ask, do they have any questions that they need answered? Right. And if they don't have, which they usually do, and once they ask those questions, I let them know that I follow up with them within the next 2 or 3 days. If they have any other questions, right? And they throughout the process on the data and what the market's doing as a whole, their property.
Tony, You came from
I
project
do.
management at Cisco to running your own operation. What is the biggest gap between corporate skill and entrepreneurial survival that nobody warned you about?
Mm.
Spending my own money. Nah, it sounds good to run your own business, you know, and to manage, hire people, and you know, get all of these things when you're dealing with corporate money. But when it comes down to you having to spend your own money to do things, it's a little bit different. So that would definitely be the one thing that I wasn't prepared for. I mean, taking accountability, you know, for things that are happening, long nights and doing things that you don't want to do, that was kind of expected, right? But when it comes to spending your own money to get things going and to keep things going, paying people out of your own pocket, that's the one.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna ask you guys some questions here that were put into a pool that I created. It was called the Circle of Brotherhood and Community. So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna ask you guys some of these questions, which will be for each and every last one of you. First question is this. It says, brothers, what does it actually feel like to sit at a table full of black men who are not competing with you? And what took you so long to get here?
Oh wow.
Let's start with Wendell.
I'll start off.
Oh, you want to go ahead, Leo?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I'll be honest with you, Mr. King. It feels really wonderful to have this brotherhood that we have in the Titan Circle. Uh, there's a lot of, I want to say, intangibles that go along with that. It's not just the obvious things that we speak about, the books and entrepreneurship and things like that, but you know, we have different life relevant conversations, and it's good to know that you have people that they're not judging you, and they're people that you can trust, and people that are in your same lane. And even if they're not in the same lane, you know, they can perspective is everything. So you might not have the right perspective, you might not be in the right mind frame in a particular day, but having a group like this, it's not just a Monday thing for me. I kind of related it to on one call we had, kind of related it to going to church. You go to church on Sundays, and then you take that lesson out into the world Monday through Saturday. And that's how I kind of feel about some of our Titan Circle meetings. Some of the things that we say and talk about on Monday, I take it throughout the rest of the week. There's some, you know, perspective that I didn't have myself. They shed a light on some things that I might have been looking at incorrectly or not looking at all. To answer your question as far as what took so long, I think that, and Leo could probably address this better, but for my portion of it, I think it was just a maturity thing. And when things are real, it has to be organic. You can't really force it. So I think time and maturity and just being organic and already, it really doesn't help when it really doesn't hurt when you've known people for the majority of their lives also. So that's a big component as well. You have a lot of background on the people that you're with. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Leo, what's your answer to that question?
Well, you know, King, I'm gonna say, ask me the question one more time, so I can get a
The,
clear understanding.
the question is, Brothers, what does it actually feel like to sit at a table full of black men who are not competing with you, and what took you so long to get here?
To sit with a table of black men that are not competing with me feels refreshing. It we can collaborate and add value to each other, and we can all grow, right? Because we all have the same mission: build a business, add value, and create a legacy. So I think when you have the same vision and goal, that makes it easy, right? What took so long? It's one of those. I'm gonna say, add to what Wendell said too. Yeah, just maturity and timing, and it goes along
Tony?
with. I was just here thinking. Gonna go off a little something. I was sitting here thinking.
Oh, go ahead.
Keep
And I
going.
said,
Keep going, Leo.
Yeah, I was saying, what's so interesting is that the timing and the maturity was actually on point, and we all have similar backgrounds, right? As I was sitting here looking at all of us and listening, we all come from two-parent households, right? As we grew up, we all are entrepreneurial, we all are growth-minded, and we all enjoy community and being able to add value to one another. So I wanted to just elaborate a little bit what the maturity had to look like for it to develop into what it is in this moment.
Okay. Okay. Tony, what do you have to say? How do you answer this question?
All right. How does it feel to sit at a table of guys that I'm not competing with? All right.
Black men who are not competing with you, and what took you so long to get here?
A table of black men that's not competing with. It's refreshing. It feels supportive. You feel like you're sitting in a circle of people that understand you, and that have your best interests at heart. It's a different dynamic than say hanging with some guys that you might be smoking a cigar with or something, right? Watching a game where everything is centered, let's say, around whatever activity is going on TV. Or you might have, one person talking and the other person's to one up you. I went on vacation here, and I went on vacation there. And, it's not that type of environment at all, right? It's centered around some content that's based on building yourself up first, right? But then trying to get an understanding about things that you're reading and how it affects the world around you, how it might affect your family, how it may affect your job or your business, and then trying to build it up. Now, what took so long to get here? It's maturity, and no one proposed it. For a long time, I guess it was just perfect timing. A couple of years ago, when I was in the heat of getting my business off the ground, I wouldn't have been open to anything like this. I said, "Oh man, I don't have time for that." but at the point that I'm at right now, I got time. I'm curious. The content that we're reading is intriguing, and got a good group of brothers who I enjoy discussing topics with. So I don't know. That's what took so long. Just nobody had posted.
Mr. Evan.
Not a lot, not already. I would echo Tony's sentiments in that it definitely feels refreshing. and I shared with the guys a couple of times. It's definitely very prominent on my social calendar. I very much look forward to our Monday meetings. Sometimes it's a highlight of my. But with that said, what took so long to get here? I would say fear of just stepping outside of my box. I'm just getting to know Tony and Wendell, but I've known Leo for some years, and Leo's always been Leo. And it was I think that's honestly why my dad kind of turned, because Leo was initially friends with my father, and I think that's why my dad turned me on to him, because he knew he was a good brother. And Leo was Leo when I first met him years ago, a long time ago. It just stepping outside of my comfort zone, I guess, was something that I wouldn't have been as comfortable with. And while I know Leo and we talk, but like taking that next step, hang out, chop it up, you know what I'm saying, go to the gym, something like that. So yeah, just stepping outside my comfort zone. First day of my first book club meeting, they were already in the process of it. I basically told myself, like, I'm gonna have to just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very glad that I did that, because like I said, it's something I very much look forward to, and I'm already seeing the fruits of the labor in me stepping outside the box. So the question.
So I have another question here that I'm reading from the questions that was dropped. I'm a young black man trying to start my first business with no capital, no connections, and no one in my family who has done it before. What is the first real step? Not the inspirational one, the practical one. Let's start
Mind
with
if I
Tony.
take that? No.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Wendell.
The first practical step is you have to make the decision to do it. The people, and I've just learned this myself not too long ago, people think confidence comes before making the decision, but confidence actually follows the decision. So I know we've all heard the phrase, well, he made up his mind and da 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 da. Usually when you say somebody made up their mind, it happens. So that's the decision. So I would say to that brother, make the decision first. And don't let the fact that what you don't know keep you from what you want to do, because that's going to be part of the journey. Even the wisest of us, as we move toward what we want, we're going to encounter something we don't know, or that was unexpected or unanticipated, whatever the case might be. But like I mentioned before, you have so much access to technology now. Use it. You don't have to go pay a business advisor to give you what may potentially not be useful information. You can just go to some of these chat GPT or Claude or whatever, and just start asking questions, and you can get an idea of where to go from there. But you have to start with the decision, and then make the step. Tell yourself, this is what I'm doing, and that's it. Don't be afraid, because you can do it. And even if you are afraid, you can talk yourself back down. It's okay, but just stay with consistency. Beats anything else. Consistency beats talent. Consistency beats muscle. Anything. If you're consistent with it, it's gonna happen.
Let me read the question again. It says, I'm a young black man trying to start my first business with no capital, no connections, and no one in my family who has done it before. What is the first real step? Not the inspirational one, the practical one. Tony, I'm over to you now.
All right. I would say write a business plan. Try to find someone who's doing a similar business to what you are doing, and see if you can get them to mentor you. Try to see if there's any professional organizations that are involved in the business that you are going into, and try to get involved into their trade, if it's a trade group, I don't know if it was tax preparation or something like that. There's a tax preparation association. I know for event rentals, before I started the business proper, we joined the American Rental Association. And so they have a convention. So we went to the convention, and so we got plugged in with education on the industry. So I would say to write a business plan, research the industry, and find out if there is a supporting arm for the industry that you're planning on getting involved in, and join it and get immersed in the business that you're trying to get into.
Leo.
Yeah, I would just add to what Wendell and Tony said. To it is, of course, what Tony said, to reach out to score.org. It's an SBA website, and they will help you with your business you are looking to start. And they have free mentors a lot of times that may actually be in that business. And so that's it, score.org. And then also, they also have training on financial literacy about your business. They have training on AI tools. They have training on how to write a business plan. They have everything for free. Score.org. And the second piece I would add to that, similar to what Tony said, is, and well, you got to make the decision to start. That's number one. But you also have, I use this term, apex predator, meaning that you got to go out and ask somebody that's doing the business, let them know that you want to do the business. I mean, you want to be in business, and could they sit down and maybe could you buy them some coffee or buy them some lunch or something, and get as much knowledge as you can from that person, and just don't stop there. Right? That's the foundation. So you can learn as much as you can along with your own personal research. That's what I would say.
And Evan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, a little bit piggybacking on Leo, who in turn piggybacked on Tony. The SBA resources like that stuff is invaluable. Also the SBDC in Gwinnett, I believe they're an incubator with the University of Georgia Gwinnett campus. Just to name a few, with our resources out there, square one, that offer workshops and classes on how to write a business plan, how to do cash flow projections, in addition to letting you know about different financing or loan options rather out there, like the SBA micro loan program. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not as familiar with that program as I was in years past, but from what I have heard under who in DC, it's not those dollars aren't flowing as easily as they have been in years past. Like the future, are opportunities out there and resources available to people who are starting from that particular point. Also, I mean, we're in Atlanta. Well, I'm assuming this gentleman is in Atlanta. It's a lot of opportunities to network as well out there. You just have to put yourself, like I said earlier, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just put yourself out there and network. Mm-hmm. That always helps too, because some people they just might like the jib, but they might just like the cut of your jib and be like, hey, I'm gonna have that elevator pitch ready. You never know who you talk to. You definitely never know. So I would say definitely available to individuals out there. Network, and at the end, I would say just be pragmatic. Look in the mirror and just be real with yourself about what you can do, what you're able to do. What type of money that would take, and just be real with yourself. I mean, because business is serious. I mean, stuff like this is the real deal. You can waste years of your life chasing something that's a pipe. So also look in the mirror and be real with yourself. Like I said, there are businesses that you can start with sweat equity that, don't take a lot of money. You can build up and transition. But yeah, I would say those points.
Okay, I'm going to read one more question from the submitted questions, and this one is from a father. He says, "I have two sons, 12 and 16. What are you doing in your businesses and your communities that is creating opportunities for young Black men to see themselves in something before they age out of hope?"
Mm.
I You know what? I would cede the floor to Leonard on that because we were shooting that particular question around. So I'll let him speak on what he's comfortable and elaborating on in regards to that.
King,
Yes.
the question one more time. Ask me the question.
I have two sons, 12 and 16. What are you doing in your businesses and your communities that is creating opportunities for young Black men to see themselves in something before they age out of hope?
Well, for me, what I do is steer kids, young men, if they don't want to do college route, have to have some type of education. That's number one. And to figure out if what route you want to go out of the three. Do you want to be in the military? Do you want to go the college route? Do you want to go the technical school route? Or do you want to be, I'm sorry, there's a fourth one too. Or do you want to be service? But there's still some education. It's all education component of it. And have a conversation and let them decide which one of those forward in that area, and understand that you're gonna have to be educated to keep from having no hope. Education gives you hope. No education is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So I would say just focus on education in one of those four domains.
If I could add something brief to that,
Yes, sir.
be what you want them to see. Be what you want them to see.
Anybody else?
Well, I guess I'm the only one that spoke on this. I do provide opportunities for kids to work with us during the summer when they're out of school. At one point, I was taking young guys out with me to put up tents and do deliveries and things of that nature. But we've since moved on from that. When my kids were younger, they're definitely working with us, and their friends and all of those. A lot of their friends were working with me, and I provide opportunities for them. We still have college kids that work with us during the summer. With the 12 and 16-year-olds, I can't say that in my business right now that we do anything specifically for 12 to 16-year-olds in our business. I can't say that. In times past, though, I was heavy into youth sports and coaching and providing mentorship through coaching in the time that I spent with the kids, helping them, learn how to play baseball and basketball and football.
Well, let me ask this one last group question. Leonard, your Titan book club is built around men reading and discussing together. Tony, you are a systems oriented PMP professional. Wendell, you see the world from above. And Evan, you build with your hands. How do all four of those perspectives actually make a brotherhood stronger, not philosophically, but practically?
I think
Well,
because, go ahead, Leo. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say because we can all and support one another in their businesses at some point.
On that, and I would say because we, at the end of the day, we have diverse. We're all very similar, but we're very diverse. We have different beliefs, um, different angles, different paths taken in life, but we're very much and kind of come to coalesce very seamlessly. And I mean, that's why I was laughing earlier because we talked about politics among ourselves the other day, and Leo basically was giving me a look like, "Don't you dare do it." And I saw him give me that look, and he was like, "Don't stray too," And so, but because we, not to say that we have viewpoints, but he has those moments where we have those moments where we kind of look at each other and like, hey now, but true brotherhood, and that's what a brotherhood is about. We don't all necessarily have to be lockstep every step of the way. Our goal at the end of the day is the same, and we respect other and value what each other, what the others bring to the table. And so it makes it easy for us to sit down and be able to have different beliefs and diverse opinions on different things, and it not to be any drama about it. So
I think the fact that there is diversity that sparks the unity because we all have something different to bring to the circle. So if we were all exactly like-minded in every fashion, we did the same thing. And you asked about this earlier about being in competition. We're not in competition with each other because we're in different spaces. So being in different spaces, you know, we can we can be a breath of fresh air to each other. I don't know about event spaces. Tony does. I don't know about real estate. Leo does. I don't know about cars the way Evan does. So
So
that's cool.
that's cool.
I think that's cool. I think that's the
I think
key.
that's the key.
We continue to
We
learn from
continue
each
to learn.
other.
Tony, what about you?
I think they all wrapped it up pretty good there, Mr. King. The the diversity in the group creates the synergy. The fact that we all come from similar backgrounds, but we have different ways of making a living now and different experiences. I think that creates a good unity and synergy between the four of us.
Well put, Keith.
Well, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity here to leave some words of wisdom and encouragement to our audience, and you can also tell them how they can connect with you via your social media, your websites, all of those wonderful things. I'm going to start with Leo.
My words of wisdom would be whatever it is that you choose to do, there is a way to do it. you have to, like Evans, put yourself out there and connect with the people doing what you want to do in any domain. And that's not just in business, because everybody is not going to be in business. That's if you want to be if you want to be a fireman, if you want to be an EMT, if you want to be an accountant, whatever it is, put yourself out there, pick up the phone, chat GPT, who are the accountant, and go knock on their door and say, hey, and I saw you, and could you help me or guide me in the right direction with somebody? You can reach me on my website. It's powerhousebyleo.com. That's my real estate website. You can reach me on my book website. That's manhoodbydesignglobal.com. Or you can email me at list, that's LIST, with WITH, Leo, LEO, King, KING, at gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And however I can add value to whatever it is that you're trying to do, or that you want to do, or deciding that you are going to do, I will do my best to connect you with that person so you can take your life to the next level and leave that legacy. Thank you. And thank you for having me, King Charles
Yes, yes, sir.
King.
Tony.
All right. My words of wisdom: be informed, be courageous, and be authentically you. And you can do anything that you want to do. And without going a long way in anything else, you can you can shop with us at Rent the Occasion by going to renttheoccasion.com. We're also present on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. We'd be happy to help you create your event your way.
Evan.
What did I people with? Very important to know who you surround yourself with. Your vision align. See them in 10 years. Where do you see that particular relationship in years? That's something sandwiching that into you tell, and I try to tell young brothers a lot. And just watch who you're around, watch who you keep up with. That definitely means a lot. In terms of how people can reach me, again, you need help. Process. If you're looking for a car for rental, I'm in 404-514-3432. Me and my email. That's Evan at evautoatl.com. That's EVAN at EV then autoatl.com. That's and thank you once again, Mr. King, for having us on. This is, I can't speak for everybody. I'm very much glad that I did it. This is big. Everyone.
And Wendell.
I'm just going to piggyback off what my other brothers have said. Words of wisdom. There's going to be times where you are unsure. There's going to be times when you're possibly going to be afraid. don't give as much attention to the outside voices that are telling you no as much as you pay attention to the inside voice that tells you yes. You'll be surprised how much is already in you that you need to get to where you're going. The other thing is, when we think of goals, a lot of times we look at them in straight lines, say, this is where I am, this is where I want to go. And 9 times out of 10, the path ain't straight. But that's not a problem either. The path is going to take you where it takes you. And along the way, you pick up things that you need to continue to get you to that destination. So understand that the journey is also part of it. You know, you're going to run into some pitfalls and you're going to make some mistakes, but just dust yourself off and keep it pushing. Keep your goal in mind. You may not know anybody that does what you do or trying to do, but if you keep going, you'll eventually run into those resources or run into things you need, or you may end up being that individual, that pioneer. But if you're not consistent with it, if you don't keep at it, then you'll never know. And you don't want to take that regret with you. Basically, not to be cliches, but leave it on the field.
And so what I like to do is, as I'm getting ready, I'm going to close the show here in just a second, and I'm going to do a monologue. But can I have you guys stick around for a few minutes after I close the show?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Charles.
I want to thank all of you that have watched and viewed the show and have been here for the duration. I appreciate you so much. I want to thank you all for being here for this historic moment, for what is about to kick off, what is going to be the unification of not just Black men, but communities around this country. As you see, that one, as was pointed out in this show, we're not a monolith, but together we make things happen. And I can guarantee you that for those of you that have been watching now, I'm more than sure that you got something from this show. So as you share this show, I need you to please make sure that the people that you're really trying to get to understand unity, that they get this opportunity to see this show and what Black men have to offer to this country. For those of you that are watching on all of our channels, especially the YouTube channels, if you have not yet subscribed and enabled all notifications, I ask if you will please support us by subscribing to the channels and enabling all notifications, where every time we do a show, you will get the show live, as well as you're able to go back and look at each and every show that we have recorded, and you're able to watch and learn from what all of the professionals from all the different industries that are subjected and have put themselves in the community building part of their lives. You will learn from each and every individual. And so, so in closing, as I do this monologue, what just happened in this room is not an accident. We have 4 men, different industries, different cities, different stories, came together and told the truth. Not the polished truth, not the rehearsed truth, the real truth about struggle and setback, about fathers and faith, about the kind of brotherhood that doesn't need a hashtag because it already has a heartbeat. Evan Campbell is building economic sovereignty in the automotive space. Wendell Holton is lifting the perspective of an entire community, literally and figuratively. Leonard King is designing men, giving them not just inspiration, but architecture. And Tony Magby is proving that when discipline meets courage, a career becomes a calling. These are the Black men who don't make the 6 o'clock news. They don't go viral for the wrong reasons. They go home to their families, they open their shops, they write their chapters, they lead their circles, and they do it again tomorrow. Desmond Tutu said it. Ubuntu teaches it. Tonight confirmed it. We are most fully ourselves when we are in communion with one another. To every young man watching this, every brother who has ever felt unseen, unheard, left behind, or left out, this table is for you. Not as a fantasy, as a blueprint, as a preview of what happens when you choose to build instead of drift. To the Titan Circle, to the brotherhood that gathered this table and will gather many more, keep building. The world needs what you're making. I'm your host, Charles Zachary King. This has been America in Black and White, Season 4, Episode 135. And Black men, we are just getting started. You all have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow for another great episode of America in Black